Now, you said later this year. What if that happens to be a fight with no spectators? What if we haven't progressed in that regard and safety where we can have, an audience? Are you willing to fight in a studio, so to speak?
You know, just putting bread on the table, man. I'm just trying to have that, the income for this year. My hand feels good. I want to know how good, man. I want to test the waters. Another thing is, let's say I perform November, December, something, and there's nobody in the arenas, but, slowly but surely things start to look a little different in 2021. We start to get a little bit more action. I got to brush off dust in 2020. How many fighters are going to be able to state that they did anything in 2020? Am I going to do anything in 2020? It's still really all up in the air. So that's why I'm leaning towards, there's a lot of benefit into getting back in the action, especially when it's a competitive sport and I see my peers, and if ain't nobody doing nothing, I know what it did to me. So, I hope they doing something, because if I come back ready and other people ain't ready, we don't need bookies to tell us the odds to that one.
Right. So Keith, tell me your motivation right now. Is it a check? Is it just to get bigger checks until you retire because you feel you're 32 years old, or is it still legacy, or what is it right now?
There's still an opportunity, man. There really is. I don't know how many people see it, want to acknowledge it, but like I said, I have I'm not afraid to let it go. If you can beat me. Now that happened. Now that's past me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still Keith one-time Thurman. I'm still one of the baddest people at 147. I've never been an easy task, and that fight could have went almost any way, and I was right there in the fight, punch for punch. So it's just not an easy task, man. Ever since I was a child, man, I knew I was good at this game, this sport, and I'm just ready to test everybody. I've been testing the world. I've been testing myself. I got to be in with a legend. If there's another young buck, if there's somebody out there who's young and bucking and has got my number 2, call me up on it, baby. Let's go.
Now, see, I didn't wait. Hold on a second. I didn't really get an answer there. I mean, like, if you had $100 million in the bank right now, would you still fight? Is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, if I had that much, I might sit and commentate,
That's what I'm trying to hear.
At the end of the day, I have an opportunity. When I was talking about an opportunity, there's an opportunity to still be the undisputed welterweight champion in my generation. That's the real opportunity on the table. That's something that, that's up there for me, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford. That's really what our generation is going to be about. And if one of us doesn't do it, is there somebody else tagging along right behind us who sprints right past them and says, nah, those are my belts, But we know that Pacquiao is in his final stretches, regardless of what that means. Yes. I mean, it just is what it is. And me at 32, if I want to stretch, 5 doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt. So I really believe that there's going to be an undisputed welterweight champion. Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, and, only everybody sipping on haterade and not wanting to participate would stop that, outside of that, Pacquiao's got my belt, so I can't just throw mine in the mix right away. I'd love to go get it right back, and then put myself right in front of all these young champions once again, because that was the original mission, So really, I still have my eyes set on big things, big dreams, and being champion and unifying. I was unified before Spence. I know what it feels like. Had that taken away from me, had my other belt taken away from me, and now I'm just striving for greatness once again. And I love it though, man. It's from here. When you look up, I feel like you're inspired. You know what I mean? When you look down, it's a different story.
So legacy is still obviously important to you. What fight is more important to you? Is it Manny Pacquiao and avenging that loss, or if you had an opportunity to fight Errol Spence that's been attached to your name for a very long time, what fight is more important to you?
Right now, the get back, the get back. The get back. And the truth is, just because, I might be young, I might be in the new generation, but my soul is old, and I'd like to get it right back. I'd like to run it right back. Don't see nobody, Pat. Don't see nobody. It's gonna be boring anyways. Don't see nobody. Come see me. You did it one time. Let's do it one more time. Do it another time. It is what it is, man. It's just action, baby. It's just action. I'm addicted to the action. That's some great action. I love being in the ring with that little hibbity hoppity, little speedy little.
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm glad you brought that up. Hold up, Keith. I'm glad you brought that up. Did you see the meme that was out there and went viral on social media of you, a voiceover of you kind of mocking him with the little, I think you said dinosaur hands. Yeah, T-Rex arms. Yeah, T-Rex, okay. And then it showed a clip of you getting dropped. Did you see that meme, and how did you feel about that? It was kind of funny.
It's everything. He's everything that I ever said he was. He's a little bunny rabbit who hops around and jumps at you with them little T-Rex arms. It is what it is, man. We know certain things about certain athletes. Don't mean you can stop it. You know what I mean? We know certain things about certain athletes. He just got me, man. I think that the whole performance came down to Pacquiao throwing the right punches at the right time, and then keeping his hands up, and seeing the bigger picture, seeing the W. He wasn't like, I'm gonna destroy this kid, but he was just real nice and easy. Did everything in the book. He probably listened to the roach in his corner. Probably listened to Freddie over there. And they executed a good game plan. Like my old trainer used to always say, smart fighters win, dumb fighters lose. And, I give him props because, regardless of how close the fight was, he executed a very smart game plan. The judges gave it to him. It's his fight.
Keith, shout out to your original trainer, Ben Getty. Speaking of that knockdown, was it that you misjudged distance? You thought maybe you had a little bit, because you were moving backwards already. Did you thought that you had a little bit of distance? You got distance away from him, but he just kept coming and he punched you, and maybe the force hit you down, or were you hurt?
Yeah, I definitely wasn't hurt. And I was debating that earlier today, and I don't know if it was because I knew this interview was coming up, but I was thinking, fight thoughts up here, and it bothered me, man, because there's another interview I got. We're going to talk about multiple fights throughout my career, and that's what had me thinking about it. And the knockdown, I didn't feel threatened, and I believe there was a time early on in my career that I was knocked down in the first round. It was a fight that wasn't televised. Nobody got to see it. What happened was, I knocked that dude down that round, the next round, and the next round. But I felt like my life was on the line. I felt like so much was at stake in that moment when I got up. With Pacquiao, it wasn't the same. Moving backwards really helped that knockdown. He kind of jumped in at the right time. He was very inactive in the first round. I felt like he was filling me out, and maybe he was going to let it go. And I think that at that moment, I felt like he's doing nothing. That's when he sprung in to do something, so that's where I keep saying he threw the right punch at the right time. It's really hard to do that when, I was dominating the whole round. I'm in it really nice. I felt focused. The one moment I take my focus away is the moment he attacks, the moment he strikes. So it was just a well-placed punch at the right time, caught me with the momentum. It is what it is. When I got up, I didn't feel shaky. I didn't feel wobbly, buzzed. I didn't feel fearful. I did have to acknowledge that it was a power punch still, it still did land. I still did feel the connection. And he does have small, little heavy hands, but not the biggest threat. Like sometimes I say you might get knocked down, but you're not getting knocked out, and I felt like that's what happened. And with 12 rounds left, like let's say that happened, the only knockdown was in the 10th round or something. That might make me feel more drastic to pull something out of the tank. But in round one, I didn't feel like it was a threat. And I feel like it just affected it. It didn't really affect everything. It affected things from letting me kind of stay composed, where I wonder what would happen if I just went emotional on Pat. What happened if I just went all, you know what I mean? You know,
Right.
no, not today. Not today. No. Mama, please. Mama, I'm going to do it for you, Mama. I'm going to do it for you. You know?
Hey, Keith, I gotta ask you real quick before we get out of here. They're kind of rushing us. Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, which one of those two dudes you think will be a harder fight for you? And if they do fight before you get to one of them, who wins that fight? Two-part question.
It's just interesting. I don't know what would happen against a certain caliber with Crawford at 147. I just still believe that I've yet to see a certain caliber at 147. And I think that as I say it, you know, out loud, when I say a certain caliber, I believe that once you hit a certain caliber, he will be presented with certain challenges. And I would like to see him overcome those. You know, the highlight of his career being Gamboa is not the same thing as 147, you know. So it was just interesting, man. I know he's skillful. He's been skillful ever since back in the days when we was in the amateurs together. He's got heart. But, you know, against 147, I just lean towards Spence a little bit. You know, I think it's just game plans, but Spence controls the ring. He controls a lot, and then people accidentally let him control a little too much. And I don't like when Crawford is southpaw. So at the end of the day, I think he's a better right-handed fighter. I think he can execute things better right-handedly. I think he could finish the job sooner in certain fights if he wouldn't stayed southpaw in certain fights. I think he's being playful. So, yeah, that's my opinion at the end of the day. I like both fights. I like both challenges. And I would enjoy both of them pretty much probably equally at the end of the day. You know, maybe Spence a little bit more, but we'll see.
So in other words, you picking Spence to beat Crawford. All right, listen, we got to get out of here, Keith. We appreciate you taking the time. I hope you get a chance to shake that ring rust off in 2020. So 2021 comes,
yes, sir.
we get people a big fight with you and one of those guys. Keith Thurman, folks, one time. Thank you.